It's 12 o'clock, and you're watching KCCI Channel 8 Des Moines, Iowa's news leader, with Molly Cooney, Jason Hoffman, and meteorologist Mike Lozano. This is News Channel 8.
Police say this man fired the shot which killed another man outside a bar in Des Moines. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Molly Cooney.
And I'm Jason Hoffman. Police say the drive-by shooting near Martin Luther King in Forest last night was a direct retaliation to a drug ripoff.
News Channel 8 crime beat reporter Brian Polson is live on the scene to explain all this. And Brian, just exactly what do they mean by a drug ripoff?
Well, they say the murder suspect was outside here about the Cloud Bar trying to buy about $1,000 worth of crack cocaine. That figure may be in question, but he's trying to make a drug deal. So they came across the street, across Forest Avenue, to this alley here to the north. Instead of coming out of the alley with drugs, however, Thandau came out with a black eye, no shoes, and no money. Now, about an hour after that, police say, a car drove by the Cloud Bar and someone fired several shots into the crowd. Now, Thandau was later arrested for firing the shot that ultimately killed 32-year-old Monty Thomas.
As all these people that were on the sidewalk tried to get back into the bar for cover, Mr. Thomas was the only one that didn't make it.
Now, Monty Thomas does have a history of drug dealing in Des Moines. In fact, but police, I should say that he was not necessarily a direct target of the shooting. In fact, he wasn't involved in the drug deal at all. It appears he was just standing in a vulnerable spot when the shooters drove by.
All right, Brian, we've heard reports of other suspects being arrested. Was he the only gunman there? Were there others around?
Well, there were several people in the car, and ident technicians picked up 12 spent shell casings here. Police are trying to determine right now whether or not there was more than one shooter involved.
All right, Brian Polson reporting live for us. We'll continue to follow the story throughout the day. Thanks, Brian.
Patients at the Woodward State Hospital are in immediate danger, according to state inspectors. This afternoon, more on a story News Channel 8 broke for you last night on the news at 6. Now, last week, 56-year-old Donna Miller drowned in a bathtub at the hospital. An autopsy showed she also suffered first, second, and third-degree burns on her body. Yesterday, the Iowa Department of Inspections and Appeals declared the school an immediate jeopardy situation. Inspectors say there are conditions at Woodward that could cause injury or death to the patients there. Now, an advocacy group for the mentally handicapped says they have found 3 more deaths at the school that were caused by a lack of supervision. 5 inspectors will head to Woodward Monday to examine the school. Depending on the inspectors' findings, the school could lose its federal Medicaid funding. Woodward Superintendent Michael Davis says he welcomes the full-scale investigation.
Vandals carved anti-Semitic words on the walls of the Council Bluffs synagogue, but so far no one has been arrested. It happened Tuesday morning. Police say the vandals broke in a window to get in, then carved a swastika and hate messages into the wall. Doors, windows, and cabinets were damaged and many items were stolen. Members of the synagogue say the damage is so bad they don't know if it's worth salvaging.
State drug agents followed their noses to track down and bust a suspected meth lab. The bust happened last night at 6:30 in Knoxville. Agents raided the home at 313 West Rock Island. Inside, they found chemicals and equipment used to make methamphetamine. They arrested 2 men, 49-year-old Samuel Bloom and 42-year-old Stephen Douglas Weldon. Both were charged with manufacturing a controlled substance.
A 4-car accident near Bondurant sent 1 man to the hospital last night. It happened just after 10 o'clock on Highway 65. Polk County Sheriff's Department says a car driven by Heidi Brown tried to pass the truck, but Brown's car clipped the truck when it moved back into the right lane. The truck then rolled over. Driver Colin Ackerberg suffered head injuries and was hospitalized. A second accident happened when another car drove up onto the accident, hit the brakes, and was rear-ended. 5 inmates at the Anamosa State Prison have been implicated in an escape attempt. A guard found a camouflaged hole in the floor of a cell. It led to a sewer tunnel that connects to a passageway but does not exit the prison. After discovering the hole, guards counted prisoners and determined that none had escaped. The prison warden says a thorough investigation of all other cell blocks is being conducted.
Attorney General Tom Miller has Microsoft on his mind. Miller, along with attorneys general from several states and the federal government, are suing the software giant. Now, the lawsuit accuses Microsoft of anti-competitive business practices involving the packaging of its Windows and Internet browser together. Depositions started today. The trial is set to start September 8th. Well, he likes his Letterman. Same time, same channel, every day. So when his local affiliate in Greenville, South Carolina, pulled the show for a week, he complained to the FCC. Spartan Communications President Nick Evans dropped the show after a dispute over complimentary tickets to the New York taping. Now, in his letter to the FCC, James Goldsmith writes that the Spartan president is, quote, acting more like a spoiled child than a responsible licensee, unquote. Spartan also owns KIMT in Mason City, which also pulled the show.
If you fight in Des Moines schools, you're going to be sent home. Last night, the district adopted a zero-tolerance policy towards fighting. Thomas Jeschke, Director of Student Services, says the policy is meant for students with malicious intent in mind, not those defending themselves. First-time offenders in elementary schools can be suspended for up to 2 days. Suspensions start at 5 days for middle school students and 10 days for high schoolers.
Don't mess with regulation. That's the gist of a letter to the State Racing and Gaming Commission from a legislative committee. The blunt letter from the Rules Review Committee warns the commission to drop its effort or risk permanently damaging its relationship with lawmakers. A response may come soon. The Racing and Gaming Commission will meet next week. Lawmakers had wanted a 5-year freeze on new gambling licenses. Governor Branstad said no. The commission then proposed its own administrative rules that would enact a moratorium.
He put his personal stamp of approval on the State House restoration here in Des Moines. He got in trouble. An unnamed employee of the Iowa Scaffold Company etched his initials in the new gold leaf on top of the dome. The inch-high letters were found by other workers who reported it. New gold leaf was put over top the initials earlier this week. The $61 million Capitol restoration should be done by the year 2000.
Well, Mike Lozano's along right now, and Mike, it's not too bad out, is it?
Well, not bad right now, not bad at all. Matter of fact, kind of a mild day considering it's summer, but the return of the thunderstorms right around the corner. Let's take a look at them right now. We are looking at Sioux Falls, South Dakota radar, NEXRAD, if you will, and what we're looking at is a little area of thunderstorms that is now forming all the way from just west of Sioux Falls on down to about Yankton, coming over to Norfolk, Nebraska, just west of the Sioux City area. We expect this entire area to drift into the state this way down to the south-southeast. That'll bring thunderstorms into the area late this afternoon, and then again, possibly after midnight, could be some heavy ones in there. We'll let you know.
All right, we'll keep an eye on that, and you'll keep an eye on it as well. Thanks, Mike.
Still to come on News Channel 8 today at noon, Ken Starr won't be questioning any Secret Service agents in front of Whitewater grand jury. At least not yet. We'll have the latest for you on the investigation.
And federal agents in North Carolina widen their search for the man they think bombed an abortion clinic. Those stories, much more just ahead.